Prime Minister Modi kicked off day one at the World Economic Forum with his keynote speech. Indian Prime Minister emphasized on the need to fight growing divisions within societies around the world, taking a cue from this year's theme at Davos, creating a shared future in a fractured world. The Prime Minister spoke out against growing protectionism around the world. He even raised the issue of terrorism and climate change, calling on the world leaders present before him to unite on these issues. Prime Minister Modi also spoke of the reforms that his government has undertaken in India. In a strong pitch for his pet projects, PM Modi called on the top CEOs, saying that his government has removed the red tape and laid out red carpet for foreign investors. Narrating India's growth story and presenting exciting opportunities for global business in India at Davos, PM Modi hosted a roundtable meeting with CEOs of top global companies. The CEOs included Microsoft's Satya Nadella, Reliance's Mukesh Ambani, and Airbus CEO Dirk Hoek. Now, PM Modi used a platform to share his vision of the world, outlining the challenges that the world faces and offering solutions to an audience comprising global leaders, top CEOs, and leading policy makers. He began by raising the issue of climate change. Now, the Indian Prime Minister
पीछे हटते जा रहे हैं। आर्कटिक की बर्फ पिघलती जा रही है। बहुत से द्वीप डूब रहे हैं या डूबने के कगार पर है। बहुत गर्मी और बहुत ठंड, बेहद बारिश और बाढ़ या बहुत सूखा, एक्सट्रीम वेदर का प्रभाव दिन ब दिन बढ़ रहा है। कल भी आदरणीय राष्ट्रपति जी मुझे कह रहे थे कि इस समय जो बर्फ वर्षा है ये पिछले 20 साल में देखी नहीं गई है। इन हालात में होना तो चाहिए था कि हम अपने सीमित संकुचित दायरों से निकलकर एकजुट हो जाते हैं। लेकिन हम ईमानदारी से अपने आप को पूछे, क्या ऐसा हुआ है क्या? और अगर नहीं तो क्यों? और हम क्या कर सकते हैं? मिलकर के क्या कर सकते हैं जो इन हालात में सुधार हो? हर कोई कहता है कि कार्बन एमिशन को कम करना चाहिए, लेकिन ऐसे कितने देश या लोग हैं जो विकासशील देशों और समाजों को उपयुक्त टेक्नोलॉजी उपलब्ध कराने के लिए आवश्यक संसाधन मुहैया कराने में मदद करने के लिए आगे आते हैं।
Now, the Indian Prime Minister termed climate change the greatest threat to human civilization. India was one of the countries that took the lead on the issue of global warming, especially when the Paris Accord was signed. It was back in the headlines after Donald Trump called climate change a hoax and the United States pulled out of the Paris deal. Prime Minister Modi called on world leaders to work together and find a solution. We also spoke to the President of Mauritius, Amina Gurib. Listen in.
We are joined by President Mauritius, Amina. She's here. And ma'am, you're in Davos. How have you found it so far? And how have you, is it been successful for you so far?
Well, Davos is a very important forum, and it's my second visit to Davos, and I think it's a great opportunity to link up with the business world and also, of course, all the other sectors present here, and it's always beneficial because at the end of the day, people-to-people contact matter.
Okay. And as you are here, and, Indian PM is also here, he spoke about a lot of issues ranging from global threats of terrorism to even, talking about India's GDP, how India is a good investment destination. So both countries are, wanting to attract investors to the countries. How do you see his pitch on this stage, global stage, when it's come to India's investment and also the threats which we all, countries are facing, terrorism and other threats also?
Well, as you know, India is a very important partner to us, and of course we share a lot of things in common, geography, history. Of course we have blood ties because we're all Indian diaspora, those in Mauritius. And I think he's touched on some very important issues because at the end of the day, what do we want? We want peace, we want security, we want, of course, solidarity. And I think this is what will matter at the end of the day. And we, of course, as very close partners, as I said, to India, a lot of investment to India goes through Mauritius. And, of course, we want to keep on building our relationship and, of course, keep on consolidating our bilateral relations.
India, when it comes to neighboring countries, India and China both are trying to woo the partners here. What do you think vis-a-vis as far as China and India are concerned? How does that competition goes when it comes to attracting countries like Mauritius?
Well, I can't comment on these because these are two emerging powers. And I think by 2050 it is clear that these two economies will be, of course, very dominant economies. And we have bilateral relations with both India and China. And as I said, we have been working, and we have 50 years of history in terms of post-independence. So both countries, we work with both countries, and as I said, we collaborate with both countries. So, of course, as I said, these two are going to be two emerging powers. So we are talking about the next, next big powers. They're going to be very much based in Asia.
And coming back to Davos, we are coming to Davos at a time when, global economies, there are certain pockets where there is still slowdown, but other economies are booming, doing very well. How successful have you been so far in putting across your message on this global stage?
I think the theme that Davos, the World Economic Forum, has chosen this year is, I think, one of the words, the fractured world. And what we're witnessing on the world stage, unfortunately, is the rise in inequality. And those countries that have done so well, and here I have in mind, for example, the Scandinavian countries, they have put in place the right policy, the right regulatory environment, because inequality will be accentuated with, there's climate change, which of course is a very important factor. But over and above this, we are going to see the rise of technology and with all that it brings in terms of creating and increasing that gap between the have and the have-nots. And you've talked about, you've just mentioned the fact that we have to look for a secure world. When we talk about a secured world, we're also looking at addressing inequality. And to me, this is a very big threat, and this is something we have to address.
Last question. When we talk about, again, PM Modi's address today, he spoke about taking all together and then moving in the direction of development. How does Mauritius see it as far as this message is concerned, taking all of the countries together? The message was given by PM Modi today.
But as I said, again, we call for a global solidarity, and if we can use this concept of global solidarity, we have to make the economy work, and the economy work has to work for everyone, and not just a small pocket, not just the 1% dictating to the 99%. If we manage to breach that, then we should be able to address all the issue of security and, of course, peace, which we all want, because peace rhymes with the emergence, of course, the consolidation of the economy. So we have to see to it that this fractured world doesn't actually fracture further and splinter. And we have to see how we can build it through global solidarity, address inequality, and essentially go back to basic core values, and which is respect and, all this.
It's a meeting of the world's rich and powerful. On agenda, the next steps to kickstart global growth. As world leaders assemble in this ski resort, all eyes are on this man, the leader of 1.25 billion Indians, the leader of the world's fastest growing economy.
वेल्थ के साथ वेलनेस चाहते हैं तो भारत में आइए.
Between heavy snowfall and warm handshakes, the business, the issues, and all the buzz. Ground reports and inside stories live from Davos.
वसुधैव कुटुंबकम.
Only on WION.